Gaming is a strange beast, isn't it? Sometimes you have a great series that just improves year after year, like MLB The Show, and then sometimes you have a franchise that seems to run around in circles every single year. RBI Baseball clearly belongs to that second category. And even though the game does feature official MLB licensing, there really isn't much to warrant coming back to this game after just one playthrough.
For the sports gamer.
When it comes to game modes, there really isn't much new here, much like the rest of the game. You can play exhibition games, seasons in a shortened or regular standpoint, and postseason. In RBI's defense though, it's not like we could realistically expect any novelty for the fourth installment of the series, especially from a game of this price tag. But with that said, there still isn't enough depth within the modes themselves to want to keep coming back to this game. It's quite disappointing that in year 4, as stated, there really isn't nothing new or earth-shattering to say, hey, this is a game that you want to play. At first look, you won't recognize any difference from last year's title to RBI Baseball 17. But more than likely, you still won't notice any difference after a second or third look either. The game features okay graphics, although you should expect better from a 2017 title. This is most likely a way to balance the gaming experience on both consoles and mobile devices, but no one is going to get blown away by the game's graphics. The game also lacks any real animations. MLB Advanced Media, the developer behind the game, should have tried harder to make it more aesthetically pleasing, especially for an arcade game like RBI Baseball. When it comes to gameplay, the last couple of installments were rather buggy, and some rules were just not well represented or clearly implemented wrong. RBI Baseball 17 is not a bug-free experience, but the game seems to flow a little bit better this year. I have encountered a couple of glitches in the way the game counted strikes, balls, and the like, but while this is certainly annoying, I have to say that no result would have changed in my games. Was I lucky? Perhaps. The gameplay itself is as arcade as you'd expect from a title like this. You can do pretty much everything with a couple of keys on your controller. It's kind of a plug-and-play game for the ones who don't know of the franchise, and this hasn't changed for RBI Baseball 17. It may be a fun game if you just want to play some ball without having to think too much, but in this case, you shouldn't set your expectations too high. Talking about gameplay glitches, sometimes players dive down to catch a flying ball, even if they're some 20 feet away, and of course, not catching anything and losing precious seconds. Another problem is that apart from appearance and statistics, it's really hard to differentiate players too much. Most of the pitchers will throw at 85 to 95 miles an hour, and batting is rather hard and requires very good timing no matter the player you're using. All in all, the game is not that bad, but you need to take it in the right prospect. It's an arcade game, focused on giving its players a fast experience with real teams and real players. It's not a rival to the show, nor does it try to come off as one. The graphics aren't on par with the modern era of video games, and it looks more like a mobile game ported to consoles rather than the other way around. The game can be recommended only to those who don't intend to buy a PS4 to get the show and are interested in a simpler gaming experience while also wanting to enjoy playing with their favorite MLB team or players. We give RBI Baseball 17 a 5.5 out of 10.